What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Alex G, and I'm alongside Mal. And this is the A Couple of Things podcast, where we are here to talk about a couple of things. I'm just gonna get right into it. So there's been, I think this happened earlier in the week this week, and I thought it was kind of like, I don't know, how to take this, but basically, I think it was Rolling Stone. I'm pretty positive it was Rolling Stone. I don't really do a lot of my due diligence on which publication posts what, because once one person posts it, every single outlet in the world posts it. But essentially, Rolling Stone posted I guess, a different view of the infamous DaBaby shooting in the Walmart store. And
Wait, Rolling Stone released it?
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, interesting. That's why I wanted to talk about it. So basically, for context, obviously, hopefully people know at this point, but DaBaby was, I sound like the feds. I feel like I feel like Vlad or TMZ, but we know DaBaby, in self-defense, he shot someone in a Walmart store because they were, being aggressive. He was around his daughter and, other people that he cared about. So he, defended himself. And I believe there was footage that existed previously, but this footage that Rolling Stone just put out recently was a different angle, and them putting it out to me was like, let me not get to that part first, but in general, basically, I guess, and what the video showed, because we can't really show it on the screen because I don't think YouTube would allow that, but it did look like DaBaby might have initiated the conflict and then ended up shooting the person, which is the way it looked in the video. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's just the way that it looked in the video. And that's why I think Rolling Stone put it out, because they wanted to have some sort of controversy or raise the conversation again. Like, was it really self-defense?
I'm just confused why the video never came out until now.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I know, for those of you that don't know, the whole term conspiracy theory was actually, that phrase was coined by the U.S. government, because obviously we know the government does a lot of real weird, nasty shit. So they created the term conspiracy theory, so it allows things to be debunked immediately, where, oh, that's just a conspiracy. Oh, you're just crazy. That didn't happen that way. Just so everybody can stay in order. But
Yeah.
In this particular situation, like what you're saying, first of all, why is this years later that this footage is now suddenly resurfacing, right?
Yeah, because this could have been came out.
This footage is new to the public, but this footage was viewed by the courts. This was viewed by the lawyers. This was reviewed by the judge. This was reviewed by the what do you call them? What are the people? The jurors.
Oh.
This was reviewed by everybody in the court case, and it was still decided back then that it was in self-defense. So first and foremost, this now being put out publicly is weird to me.
Something could have happened before the video, right?
Yeah, there was no additional context to the video, right? Like, it's like the way that the video was clipped.
Yeah.
It didn't show the full initial approach of these gentlemen. It just basically started with, because I don't think you watched it, but basically
I saw it.
You saw the one that just resurfaced?
Yeah. I don't. The one where, like, you could see them in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Okay. So yeah, you saw he was in line, but they didn't really show, like, what happened before that or why they were approaching him or whatever. But it's just weird to me. Like, first, why is it coming out now? Two, why is Rolling Stone, of all publications, posting it? And three, is there an agenda to get DaBaby canceled and, like, really get out of here permanently?
I think it's the third one. Rolling Stone is involved in music. And I feel like it's always higher powers. And like you said, they try to say it's a conspiracy, but I believe that there's always people on top that like to control things. And I think a lot of people see probably in the top that DaBaby is not really it anymore. They probably see it, the online hate for him now. A lot of people don't like him anymore. Like, think about when he first came out. Like, everybody's like, who's this new guy with this flow? Like, they liked him. And then, like, every other artist there's a phase where they started like, you know, they was clowning him like, all right, every song starting to sound the same, and then he came out with like that Pirates of the Caribbean type beat, and everybody was declining, you know. And then you have the violence, and the people like, all right, he's doing a lot now. Like, 'cause I think recently he actually just got arrested for something,
beating up a property manager, I think.
Yeah, like yesterday, like literally. So it's like I think people are seeing now this pattern of violence, and you know the things with Danny Lay, right, and her brother, and them fighting, and then Danny and the baby fighting, stuff like that. So I think maybe the people at the top are seeing, all right, this man probably not going to be profitable much longer. We kind of could just get rid of him.
Now, my opinion on this is I think, and I hate to do this because this is like, we're going to get canceled one of these days because I would just be giving my opinion. But me personally, I think that the real shift happened when he did that. I don't know what festival or stage he was on, but when he did that gay AIDS thing.
I literally forgot about that.
So.
And that was a big shift. That was a huge shift.
Now, in my opinion, this is not an indictment on that community at all. But there are people that are in those positions in the music industry or just really in any industry. It's not like they're like just limited to, you know, certain job roles, industries, whatever. So we know for a fact that there were definitely some executives that are either publicly or privately, you know, in one of those communities, one of the letters. So me personally, in my opinion, with this specific incident, I won't say that there's like some industry-wide plan to get the baby canceled, but with this specific instance, I really legitimately think that someone from that community was offended by what he said, and they're using their publication to try to get him out of here.
Yeah, because I literally forgot about that. I was listening to all the things, and I forgot that was the huge shift. Yeah, was that festival.
Because people could get through the whole your music sounds the same kind of thing.
Yeah, because that's every artist.
I hate that, yo. I swear to God, I hate that critique about people because, like,
your sound is your sound.
It's like it's almost like the people that complain about who's somebody recently. Oh, they were talking about like Pusha T. All he raps about is coke and stuff like that. It was like if you make that critique about anybody, like. This person only speaks about love. This person only speaks about drugs. People's stuff. Yeah, like there's not a trillion different things that go on in our world. It's really pretty simple.
Yeah. Not every rapper is going to be an artist. Not every rapper is going to be Kanye. Like Kanye is Kanye for a reason. You can't expect that out of everybody. You know?
Yeah, and I think he could have got through that whole my music sounds the same because clearly you saw him, you know, the opinion started to shift just off the remix on the on Jail with Kanye. People were like, oh,
but that was after.
And that was after.
Yeah, that was after the.
So I think he could have fought out of that whole the music sounds the same thing. Like we even see that with Fabio, where he's still kind of doing the drill thing, or like even Pop Smoke, when he was doing the drill thing, but then he started also making different types of music. I think he could have got through that, but this is one thing I don't think that he's going to be able to get through.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. I really do legitimately think, and this is again, I
think that community is just very protected for some reason, more protected than any other community. And they try to act like they're like a minority. They try to be we're a what's the word something group
oppressed,
like oppressed, and something else like another word like we're marginalized. It's like because like I feel like there's like a thing, and like they was talking about this when there was like a conversation about like that community. Everybody wants to be oppressed now. Like black people, we make everything cool. So we even make oppression cool. Everybody wants to be like, we're so oppressed. It's like a white gay man telling me you're oppressed. Because like they use the fact that they're gay to be like, I'm oppressed. And like I'm not saying they don't have hurdles, but I feel like there's this like dramatization that people like to just piggyback off of the civil rights movement and the Black Lives Matter movement. Like black people we're just so like inspirational and influential, and everybody just wants to be like us. So it's cool to be like, I'm oppressed. Like it's just I don't know. And for some reason that group is protected. I feel like more than any other group.
Now, my opinion about why that is the case is because I think, like I said before, and this is again not an indictment on that community at all, because you know the second you're a black heterosexual man and you make any sort of comment or criticism, they're gonna kill you, say you're homophobic, whatever. Obviously, that's not the case. Like, well, maybe it's not obvious because people don't know me, but that there's no indictment. I really do not care. Like honestly, in my opinion, I think it's really weird that there's like laws and hate and criticism and bashing of what another person does with their meat.
It's like, why do you care that much?
Like, it's so crazy.
Yourself, why do you care so much? So, like, even when people try to use the religion thing, like, if you're saved, however you feel like in your religion, and why
you don't need to push that on anybody else.
Why is what anybody else doing? Like, worry about you and your family.
And not to get on the LGBTQ conversation, because I do want to go back to the original point, but with that, like the same thing with religion and that community, the only gripe that I would have is people trying to push it on you, right? Like, even when we were in Target and they have, what did they have?
Yeah, I think her Pride Month is June.
Right. Now, me personally, I don't think that that's Target trying to push it to people, right? Like, it's just representation. Like, like, here you go.
And Target at the end of the day is looking out for their own dollar. They like, all right, we inclusive. The owner of Target could be like, what's the word when you're like against homophobic, yeah. the Target owner could be homophobic, but he's gonna get his bag and he's gonna make it look like they're inclusive. So you never know if that's real. That's just a business move. Or
they could be in that community.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. In my opinion, I think that like they hold positions of power, like they do. So I'm not surprised if there was some executive, some high level person like using their platform, because it is a big platform. Rolling Stone's been around forever. Let's get him out of here and teach him a lesson, I guess.
The funny thing is though, like with cancel culture, is a lot of stuff doesn't work though. But I feel like with the baby though, he just has too many issues. Because if he just had that one incident, he might have been all right. And yeah, like the powers that be do have like, like a puppet master. But I do feel like if he was kind of not so crazy and killing people and fighting and just being ignorant in general or saying ignorant stuff, and on top of that, your music's kind of like, you just created like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I feel like we should have clarified this. I think one of the unfortunate parts of like the growing pains of like having a podcast too is that if you're known and you give your opinion on something and you like your belief is then widely like known, if that makes sense, right? But we're small, so anybody listening to this for the first time won't understand. We had this conversation previously.
We had it when it first happened.
Right. So I just want to reiterate, and hopefully people got to this point anyway to get to this part. But like, this is in no way saying that he's not wrong for the things that he does. Yeah. Or like that they just manufactured this cancellation for no reason or any of those sorts of things.
Yeah. It's just that when you mess up and they want to get you out of here, they'll do their best to seal the deal. Yeah,
because what was the purpose? For me, the biggest question is, what was the purpose of Rolling Stone putting this out? And there's only two options. There's only two options, right? There's one, they wanted to get him out of here. Mm-hmm. And the other part is two, they wanted more clicks. And I don't know which one is nastier.
It just makes me wonder, how long did they have that tape? How long were they holding it? I think that would be the real question. Because if they had it for a while, then they were waiting for the perfect time to strike. If they just got it, then they would probably, we got to get this out. But it's like, then who gave it to them now? It is weird.
Yeah,
the whole thing is weird. That shooting happened years ago.
Yeah, what was the? I want to know the purpose.
Hasn't really been in the news except for him beating up the people. Maybe that's it. They're like, okay, this is. Maybe they were waiting for him to mess up again, and they like maybe they had the tape right, and they were waiting for him to mess up again. And they're like, all right, this is the time to strike because he's just got like arrested. He's being charged. So it's almost like when they say like beating you when you're down.
But for what purpose? I know all like of that makes sense. It's probably, like, which one is it? Is it the clicks? Is it the money?
Probably a little bit of both.
Or is it trying to get him out of here?
Probably a little bit of both. And like, if it's somebody who's behind the scene influencing it, then it's probably to get him out of here. If it's just Rolling Stone trying to make a bag, then it's just the clicks.
Yeah, I would assume it's to get him out of here, and the only reason why is because I just happen to know, our journalistic obligations. I know Rolling Stone is the one that put it out, but when that video went out, a million different platforms posted it. So you don't really, for anybody that's just coming across it on a timeline, they're not going to know who posted that video. So it's not like bringing Rolling Stone any notoriety or anything specifically because they posted it first, but then once somebody else gets a hold of it and they post it on their platform and all these other people just start sharing it directly, then nobody knows who posted it first and nobody cares. Like, nobody cares that Rolling Stone posted it. They just know that it's posted. Yeah. So that's why I think that like they didn't put their watermark on it. So that's why I think it probably really is just an agenda to get him out of here. Even if he's wrong and even if he's done a ton of wrong things, it's still kind of weird.
It is weird. Because it's like penalize somebody when they're wrong and stuff like that. But the cancel culture thing for me is always just stupid. It's like, don't support him. If you are in that community and don't want to support him after that, just don't support him. You can't tell anybody else what to do and how to support.
Yeah.
Same thing, we can't tell you what your sexuality should be. You can't tell somebody if they still want to be a fan of him to be a fan of him. If you don't want to be a fan, then you just don't be a fan. The whole cancel culture and trying to push this thing is always been weird to me, despite what they have done.
Yeah, and that's allegedly that somebody from that community did it.
Yeah,
because it could have been anybody.
Yeah.
So we just try to connect the dots and make sense of weird shit.
Yeah.
But staying in black man news and court cases and violence and things. Unfortunately, we do have to continue to give these updates. I really don't want to talk about it. I almost don't want to say I don't care, but like I kind of don't care at this point. It's like going on too long, but the Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion thing, it's like every week.
I know.
There's a new
We've been
update,
talking about this for months.
And it's going to end up becoming at years at some point.
Yeah.
But basically the newest update was that Meg dropped a new song, was the first thing.
Yeah.
She dropped a song called Plan B. I didn't listen to it, but I did hear.
I didn't listen to it. To be honest, I'm not a Meg fan.
I heard enough of it to like hear what people thought were direct shots at Tory.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing was she did the interview with Gayle King about it. I didn't watch the interview.
And the funny thing is,
you're probably gonna say what I'm about to say.
Meg can say whatever she wants to say, but all this stuff is so calculated. It's like it's planned. They do it on purpose. Like, when they go on press runs, you drop a song and where it's alleged that it's about him, and now she's like, oh, it wasn't about him. Like she was like backtracking, but now you're doing interviews about him.
Yeah.
Come on, you knew you was gonna get the attention. You knew that people were gonna think it was about him, and you decided to go on a little press run.
And let me put a disclaimer.
All calculated.
Podcasting sucks because you got to put a disclaimer in front of everything. But
people don't know us.
Disclaimer: nobody's saying that Tory did or did not do anything. Meg is or isn't lying. We don't know, honestly. And like I said,
I'm just speaking on
just what's going on, what publicly available knowledge, right? Like song, whatever. Gayle King interview.
It's just no coincidence that you drop a song and have an interview at the same time. Anytime people usually go on interviews, they got a song coming out or it came out already. A press run.
I think the Gayle King interview, I didn't watch it again, but I know what a Gayle King interview is. Like
dramatic. That's what it is.
I think that.
I'm not saying that the situation's not serious. It's just that it's always like her voice. So what are we gonna talk? Like it's just so dramatic. Her and Oprah are just so they love the.
Nah, come on, bring it to me.
No, but they love the dramatics. Like
come on.
It's so fake. It's fake sympathy that like these interviewers don't care. Gayle and Oprah don't be caring. They just like to do the whole. So Meg, what was going through your mind? You don't care. Like it's just I hate the fake dramatics. Like don't you hate like the fake drama?
I really don't like Oprah.
Me neither. Like now that I'm older, like the older I get, I'm like Oprah really
a real nasty behavior.
Yeah,
like she really. All up on Weinstein and all these places.
And we've talked about before how she's kind of responsible for the single woman bitter woman era.
She raised,
and it's being our generation is getting sucked into that bitterness. That's all I see on Twitter is bitter women all day complaining. Daytime TV is to blame. She
raised and groomed a bunch of women, a whole generation of women that gave birth to a whole bunch of women
that just hate men, mad at the world, like so miserable.
She's responsible for two generations of women hating men, and particularly black men.
Yep. I literally would have a tweet in my draft. I'm like, how do people live like this? Every day you see a tweet about a woman complaining about something about a man. Like just, oof, I cannot imagine. This life is too short. Just be happy. Ease up. Like.
We're really going to talk about
Oprah's fault.
You know what's funny? Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. But we were just talking about this, I think, last week about Oprah with Weinstein. I'm pretty sure we were just talking about this, right? And then I think the interview came out right after that. Or maybe.
Oprah is I see through her.
Yeah, it's very.
And Gayle is a byproduct
obvious.
of that because they were like hand in hand.
Yeah, more ways than one.
Yeah, what do we mean?
Never mind. So anyway, interview. You know what was coming. You know it was gonna be a lot of tears and the sympathy train. Now
it's all so orchestrated.
Obviously, PR move, cool. right? That's not, you knew that was happening. You knew what that was when it was being announced.
Even though I thought that the court said that they were not allowed to talk about
that's the whole point of me bringing this up. Now, my question is, why can she allegedly make songs about it and publicly speak about it? But didn't Tory get arrested for doing that? Or no, he got arrested for something else.
I don't know what happened, but I thought there was something where they called him out where he got fined, and I don't know.
I think he violated. I feel like he violated like an order or something like that, and then they arrested him.
Oh, you know what they arrested him for? That was what is it? Restraining order. I think he was near. They were in the same room where he was near her. Yeah, that's what it was. He violated restraining order.
All right. Okay, that makes sense.
It wasn't with him speaking out.
So that's the only thing I'm questioning is like, we've never seen this before. I'm so curious as to why both of these, and it's not just a Meg thing, why both of these individuals are able to freely speak about ongoing court investigation.
Crazy. You see, we're watching the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and the judge says is even when they go on lunch break, don't discuss the case with nobody. They're not even allowed to go on any social media and look at it. They're not even allowed to talk about the case with their family members. And you got these two people going on press runs. And
I feel like they should throw out the case. I feel like this is first of all been played out too much in the court of public opinion, and I also feel like they've just spoken about it too much, like on tweets and Instagram back and forth and songs and interviews. Now I feel like it's a spectacle.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, the shooting took place in California, so it's going to be in the California court. Oh wait, California is publicized. Was it in California? It was, right? Wasn't it after they was like And California cases are televised. They're trying to make a bag off this. Everybody's trying to get it. The media companies, they're trying to get it back. And you know how much airtime this is gonna get? The ads, I'm sure the ads are already planning and booking their slots. Like everybody's all this stuff is like they like to drag things out to make everybody money.
What do you think's going to be more popping? And this is not to be insensitive, obviously, because these are two very serious situations. What do you think is going to be more popping? And by popping, I mean popular. What do you think is going to get more attention, the Amber Heard case or the Meg one? This is even a stupid question for me to ask.
I actually think that the Amber Heard Johnny Depp is going to get more attention because it's just the white population is just, this is Johnny Depp. Yeah. And you know, everybody loves the dramatics. Justice for Johnny. Like, I get it, but I just, like, I'm not even trying to be insensitive stuff. Like, when I'm mocking it, I'm mocking the people because everybody likes to be so dramatic, right? Everybody likes to feel like they're so like,
they just want to be a part of it. They want to feel belong.
You know, I'll be watching their lives and like everybody's in the chat like just pitting think pieces. I'm like, you guys want to sound so like you just want to sound so heavy. Everybody just wants to sound like, oh, justice for Johnny, this is so wrong. Like everybody just wants to sound so like, I don't know. It's so fake to me. It's so fake. It's so fake. Like obviously there's genuine people out there, but there's a lot of just like even what the psychologist said that Amber Heard has, which is BPD, the borderline personality disorder. She said a part of that is like that they're very expressive and extra. Like there was even a speech of her that's like surfacing when she was at the Women's March, and it's just very like she's like talking like with the poetry. She's like taking a step into the journey of breaking oppression. Like I don't know, something about the way some people talk and just like are like overly expressive. It just sounds fake to me. Like everybody just wants to sound so like scholarly, and everybody wants to sound so like a social justice warrior. Like there's people who are genuinely into that stuff, right? And there's people who are genuinely poets and everything. But you know, there's a handful of people who like to sound, they just want to sound like they're an activist and get the likes, right? Like some people just want to sound fake. I don't know. Yeah. This is inauthentic to me, a lot of people, but yeah.
Yeah, it helps your brand. Like
it does. And people just want to sound like a lot of people like a lot of these white women who, because they're the ones calling into the lives. Like I'm sitting here working from home, so I'm listening, right? But if you got time to call, you're a stay-at-home mom. So that's like the people who are watching this Amber Heard Johnny Depp case is primarily probably like single white women at home, you know. So that's why it's gonna get more views than Meg Thee Stallion. And they be calling in, and a lot of them they don't got a life outside of being a mother and a wife. So they like to be involved on these online chats and just, you know, feel like they got something, like they doing something, you know. No hate to them, but definitely the Johnny Depp is Johnny Depp. Like that's definitely gonna get more views.
Yeah,
Meg Thee Stallion, this is gonna get views, but it's not gonna be like nothing's gonna beat that O.J. Simpson case though. That's, of course not. Nothing's gonna beat that. But
it's funny. I just came across this meme resurfaced. Well, it's not really a meme. It's one of those weird fact like, I don't even know what you call it, graphics or something that they post on IG. It pops up every once in a while, but the most amount of money Domino's ever made in one day was
I heard about
the OJ chase.
Okay, but I was watching.
And I haven't fact checked that, so if anybody, if that's not true, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I just saw it pop up again. It pops up annually.
It would have to be something crazy that happens in this century, in this decade that beats that. But it would have to be another murder trial with a high profile.
Like extremely high profile.
Like extremely. It would have to be like Kanye and Kim. Like God forbid.
Oh Jesus Christ.
God forbid. I know people love to run with that narrative that he's gonna hurt her. But if something actually did happen, ooh, that would break records. TVs would probably explode.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying what it would take to beat OJ. It has to be like Kanye level, Beyonce level.
Do you think, as a black woman, and I love putting you on the spot with really tough questions because I want to get you canceled, but
I don't care, cancel me.
As a black woman, do you think that there is an agenda to demonize black men? And do you think that there's an agenda for black men to demonize black women?
Yeah.
To both.
Mm-hmm. But more so the men.
Do you think that and of course you're gonna expound on it, but do you also think that demonization is something that's pushed by our own people? Like we aim to do that for the purpose of gain, or do you think it's the influence of other races?
I think we do it because we just have an obsession with breaking each other down. And I think that comes from slavery and us demonizing each other back then. I don't even know if it comes from slavery though, because there's black people who come from Africa who are immigrants here that do the same thing. So it's just, I don't know what's wrong with us. I don't. But I do think there's some type of agenda. And the funny thing is about agendas is that like somebody will get the ball rolling, but it still is up to us to keep it going. We just keep it going for some reason. Like I see, women complain about men of all races all the time, but I see primarily, and I guess, it's based on who you follow. Of course, I follow black people, so my tweets are going to be black people. But even tweets that go viral is most of the time black people, black women usually. Like tweets that go viral about complaining about men, it's always black women. Even somebody made a point, like the whole 50-50 argument. You notice that most of the people who perpetuate that conversation is us. No other race be arguing about 50-50 online. So it's just like,
let me jump in real quick. I don't personally think that anyone should look to one particular. Fuck that. I think that when somebody does something well, if you see, because I was going to get into my whole, we shouldn't try to be no, maybe you should try to be like other people. If you see somebody doing something well in their career, in their life, working out, exercising, a particular group of people are really good at something, you should probably try to emulate that. So not that they might try to spin that specifically, because I understand the whole like white acceptance thing. Yeah. But, like, nah, for some things you do need to act like white people. Like we do need to act like, and I'm not gonna fuck it, I'll say it, because people call it anti-Semitic, but you do see the way that Jewish people
that come
together in their communities, and that's not a negative thing. I don't know why it's always perceived as a negative thing.
How are we a group of people that is so influential? Like everywhere you look, the way people talk, the way they dress, it all is influenced by. I was like, look around. We was at the mall today. You've seen it, like a lot of outfits. The sneaker culture, that's us. Like Jordans, that's a black man, a black basketball player. The way people talk. The way people be like sis and this and the period thing, like that's us, You look around and it's like, how is it that we literally have control in this way, but we don't have control?
I think that one thing is that, and you could always make the argument that slavery is responsible for a lot of the thinking of black people.
And it is.
Yeah, you can make that argument. The reason why I'm saying you can make it and why I'm not jumping on it so immediately is because there's certain things that I think are directly from that, but some things I don't necessarily agree, because I think that people try to use it as a way to justify every single action, every single negative thing that black people do as a community. And we're generalizing, but
they do. Even with like how people are poor, it's like, well, we wouldn't be this poor if it was for. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but also you're a bum. You don't want to work. So don't blame white people for everything. And you literally sit on your phone most of the day, and then you say school's a scam, and you say you make excuses about everything, and then it's somebody else's fault. That's not always the case. Yes, we're behind. in the wealth gap. Yes, but there's plenty of us Black people that are doing very well.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring up the fact that I think part of it, for whatever reason, if you want to blame it on slavery, sure, whatever. But the crabs in a barrel mentality, where we feel like there's not enough for everyone, because I think the only reason that people pull other people down is because they feel like there's not enough room, money, space, whatever it is, to operate and be successful in your own space, right? Like, you take this podcasting thing, for example, flooded. Everybody and their grandmother has a podcast.
But we're us.
And the internet is unlimited, right? Like, there's no cap on the internet. You can become successful, have 50 million subscribers on YouTube just like the next person.
Yeah.
But for us, we'll feel like we can't be successful if they're successful too. And I think that's why we tear each other down.
When it's not the case. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, we always make jokes and criticize people that be like, there's only one of me. Like, you know, when girls break up with them.
No, there's not.
There's not. But in the case of, like, when you're in a, you know, there's not, when you narrow things down, then you could say that. It's like, all right, in the world of podcasting, how many Black people? And then you have a group of all the Black people. How many Black couples? And then you might have an even smaller group. And then it's like, that's when you put like, well, we're us. You know, not every couple is us. Not like the things that you can say are unique about you is your life experience. Nobody will ever have your life experience. You know what I mean? Nobody will live every single day the way I have lived every single day. Like, nobody will go through the same exact thing, like in the same exact way that I did. That's just real. No one's going to live in the same school, have the same teachers, live in the same town. Like, the same path that I took, everybody's path is unique in this world. Like, literally, every single path. Because nobody has the same exact day that they all live. That's just obvious. And I think that's what separates you. And that's when people need to get that crabs in a barrel bucket. Where crabs in a barrel
bucket is the craziest.
Crabs in a barrel.
What is the saying? Crabs in a barrel bucket
mentality. That's when people need to get out of their head, because there is some uniqueness to you as far as your craft or what you have to. I'm showing my bag off. Don't touch it.
It's diesel. Yeah, nothing to show off.
I'm eating. Yeah, but yeah, that I don't know. Our community is so messed up. It's really messed up.
Clearly. Yeah.
Don't laugh at my
But mic. To bring it back to the Meg and Tory situation, I just wonder. I don't know. It's such a hard argument because, like, clearly there's so many instances of Black men not treating Black women correctly, but there's so many instances of Black women not treating Black men correctly either.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like there's and people can make the argument that the music that Black men make is like purposefully demonizing Black women. I wouldn't disagree with that, right?
And that we grew up seeing white women and mixed women and Hispanic women in music videos. And
then you put Black women in the music videos, and then they're like, you're sexualizing Black women. You know, you can't win. But I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I just don't think that there's, and this is not to pit us against each other because it's kind of like contradictory to what we're saying, but I just feel like there's like the Gayle and Oprahs and all that kind of stuff. I just don't feel like there's that on the male side. And maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like that's been their whole platform, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they breaking down
Gayle with the R. Kelly interview. Obviously, he deserved that shit. Like, I don't want to say that, but like, you just know what I mean. Like, I feel like there's just a concerted effort sometimes to like publicize the downfall of
Black people. It's like the same thing with the Shade Room. It's like, why is there an effort to tear down, like to publicize our flaws?
Oprah with Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. I could probably find a million more instances of that. I just don't feel like there's that for, like, I don't think that Black men do that to Black women. And I think that those publications are so huge and they're on white networks. I just feel like, I don't know.
It's off-putting.
It's just weird.
And it's like, why is they're not so much highlighting the successes? Why is it always just so much more highlighting the drama and the negative things that perpetuate stereotypes that people have about Black people?
And the thing is, I really don't know which is worse. Is it worse to do it because of the money, or is it worse to do it for the purpose of demonizing a group of people? I really cannot, like, I go back and forth about which one is worse. Because, like, you're going to put your own people down purposefully, whether Tory did it or not, right? Well, that's not true. We don't know if he did it, right? Yeah. So in my opinion, you should be neutral and shouldn't be asking him to do the interview
after the fact.
Yeah, like, if anything, do it after
when
the
case is closed.
But you doing it before the fact is because you know either you're trying to push the anti-black men thing or you're trying to do it for money. And I really cannot tell which one is worse. Are you selling out your people for money? Or are you purposefully trying to perpetuate this men are the worst things in the world, even though they want men to pay for everything? And it's like, how do you hate men but then need them, and then be pregnant? Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, like, that's why like I love when men say that, when they be like, well, all these women that hate men should be showing up pregnant by these
a lot of bums, single mothers.
And they be getting pregnant by bums too, because that's the funny part. A lot of these women who complain and say this stuff can't get the men that they really want. Like, that's why they mad. They can't get the man with the bag, because the man with the bag don't want you, because you are
bad for business.
Yeah, you're bad for business. You're not that cute. You don't have no work ethic. You're a bum. You have I was about to say something mean about
it's all right.
I'm gonna stop myself before I offend people. But that's why we had a whole podcast about it. You're not Jada. You want a little baby, but you're not Jada. And look, little baby still cheating on her. So humble yourselves.
Yeah.
Got pregnant by the man that works at.
Relax. So
AutoZone.
Being a mechanic is a great job.
No, a cashier at AutoZone.
Anytime I've been to AutoZone, it's always been women that are the cashiers.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's not my experience. It's always men.
I usually see men just in the battery department or in the parts. But anyway, yeah. So
Gayle King's trash. Oprah trash.
It's just weird behavior. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Things are weird. It
is weird,
because I'm sure they didn't ask for Tory to come up there.
Because we're not in those situations, but I could promise you, I'm never, like, if I ever make it in any way, I'm never ever doing anything for a bag that's not aligning with my thought process. But that's the thing, that could align with their thought process. They could be burned or got burned by a black man in the past, and now they mad at the world, so they want to do that, and they're gonna do it for a bag also.
Yeah, or they just had a bad experience with their fathers their dads. If they know them, I don't know.
That's the thing too. People have deadbeat dads, and then they perpetuate that.
And now all men are deadbeats, and they don't take care of their kids, which is really
no, just your dad.
Yeah,
my dad was there, and he's still there.
And there's a lot of dads that aren't where they had a child but weren't married or whatever, and they're separated and still taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
To the highest level. Like,
that's the thing, because like people always say this stuff, but then I meet people, like, we are friends with people with divorced parents, and their dad was still there. I met you. Your parents are still married. Your dad was still there. My parents are still married. My dad was there. I have friends with divorced parents, and their dad was still there. So like, I have so many stories of people whose dads were around that. When I hear all this stuff, and I get that's their perception from their experience. I get that, but stop acting like I literally made this tweet. People gotta stop acting like their personal experiences are facts, are universal experiences. Your experience is not universal. There's plenty of us out here with black dads who are in our lives, taught me how to change a tire, helped me learn how to walk, brought me to track practice, soccer practice, gymnastics, dance. My dad would do all that, and worked a night job as a cop in New York City. So just because your dad wasn't there, just because your husband or your ex-husband or your baby daddy is trash, don't mean all men are trash. So people need to stop doing that. It's not a universal experience. That's so egotistical to think that your experience is everybody's experience. It's not. So stop.
Talk to him.
Yes, there are trash men. Yes, there are good men. Yes. Like, stop acting like that's all men are bad because the men in your life failed you. Bums.
Listen, if I still had the air horn, bum, 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 bum. It's a trash air horn.
Cause it's crazy. Like, I have so many males in my life that were great men. Like grandpas, my step grandpa. My step grandpa's not even blood to me, and he brought us camping every summer. Him and my grandma. We used to go up and down the East Coast every summer. And I have great memories with him, and he's not even blood. So people need to stop. Let's get Gayle King out of here.
No. This kind of leads beautifully into our next topic here. We've said this before. This kind of, in terms of clip purposes, and I hate talking about the business of how we do it, where we do the podcast, chop up the clips, whatever. Yeah. But I feel like this would have flowed beautifully as just one long topic. But yeah. Young Thug said, I don't know if you've seen this. Mm-mm. Young Thug said this. He wants broke people to stop having kids. Now we've talked about this before, where people aren't in a financial situation. Well, first and foremost, people need to put more. What's the word? They need to put more importance or like understand the gravity of having a child. People who have babies acting like it's just
a prop.
Like it's just nothing.
Like literally, like I said when we were at the mall today. Like anytime I'm around kids, it really clicks with me. Like, nah, this is a whole human with a personality. This is not a toy. It's not a robot. This is a human with a personality.
And you putting that kid out into a society where their impact on somebody else's life could be crazy. Like it's not just a minor.
You could raise a killer. Not even saying that.
No, hold up. No, like, this is exactly what Young Thug was saying. And Young Thug is funny. It's funny that he said it because he has a lot of kids, but
yeah, right. But he's not broke though. So.
But that's the thing, and that's what he explained in the full quote. You know, in his own words. But he said God needs to set some rules. We need new rules. We need a new oath. He went on to elaborate on how men with no money should not be able to ejaculate. I guess that's the proper medical. Well, this is the proper medical term. Mm-hmm. He said, "You're bringing poor kids into this world. You're making these kids rob and kill and steal because you're running around with no type of career, no nothing." And he also spoke about it from a child's perspective. Now your kid's growing up wanting things. Your kid's growing up looking at Thug. He was speaking about himself and his gang. Let me see.
Especially in this world, social media.
He said, "I just want to know why should a peasant with no job or future or apartment, house, condo have custody of a rich man's child?" Oh wait, that's an old tweet. We could ignore that. But basically, he's saying that like we know obviously what he was saying. Like if you're not in a financial situation to have a child, why are you bringing these people into the world, putting them in like poverty, and then making them go fend for themselves? They're gonna do wild shit. I
told you, like I'm like going through a freaking awakening. Like between the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, like that, like I don't know why, like that mental health specialist, like talking really got me like interested into mental health. I'm like, I really trying to get down like the rabbit hole because it's so important, and like people really don't realize how much that childhood trauma follows with you. Like I seen a girl, like I said, I keep bringing up BPD because I literally like follow somebody like a TikToker who has BPD, and then like so it's interesting to hear like that psychologist actually explained it. I was like, wow, this is actually crazy because a BPD literally is caused most times from trauma. Like that's why it usually goes hand in hand with PTSD. And it was like some girl on YouTube, she was explaining it, and she said how crazy it is that like I tell myself my childhood is over. I made it. Like, I made it out. I'm good. But now I'm mentally ill. Like I'm like that's really a crazy thing though, because like people don't realize that those impacts that you have as a kid follow you forever. Parents don't realize the gravity of what they raise their kids in and how they treat them, how that stuff affects you. Like I was saying earlier, like obviously, you know, me and my sisters tried to explain to my mom how much like our childhood, like, you know, I'm not trying to sound dramatic, like we really went through some crazy stuff, but we did go through stuff that is kind of like detrimental to you. You know, like getting beat as a kid and getting called names does affect you, whether people want to believe it or not. Like it doesn't affect my day to day, but it still produces like anxiety because your brain is developing. You're affecting a developing brain, and there's nothing you could do about it once you're a fully developed adult. You could take medication, go to therapy, all that stuff, right? But your brain is your brain. And I think parents just have these kids and don't realize that. Like raising your kid in poverty creates PTSD, you know? Like being in situations where you're fearful for your life, where you don't know where your next meal is gonna come, that stuff affects a developing brain badly. And people are running around in this world undiagnosed mental health issues because of their childhoods. That's why it's like you should want to raise your child and bring your child into a world where they could be the best them they could be while their brain is developing. Like those years are crucial. When your brain is developing, those are crucial. And people, like you said, they don't think that through. They think their kids are like dolls. Like I be looking at videos sometimes where like it's a baby mama fighting with a baby daddy. And she's holding the baby in her hand, screaming. I'm like, that baby is being traumatized right now, and do you not realize it's not clicking with you? Like that yelling creates anxiety. Like I said, I think I have anxiety because of my parents arguing all the time when I was younger. Like
allegedly,
I need to get an evaluation. I do actually want to go.
No, I was just saying allegedly. I don't like speaking on family business.
Okay, not like to argue all the time, but they argue. There was like I'm not gonna speak on my parents' personal stuff. My mom tells me a lot of stuff now that I'm older. But yeah, they argue. Like that, you know. I think all parents argue, but they were screaming at each other. Like it was, and that stuff creates anxiety. You know, and it's like cause you're in that situation, and my heart rates up. I'm like worried because obviously people get mad, and I don't want nothing happening to either of my parents. Like so. my heart rates up. I'm like, all right, please don't hurt each other. Don't put your hands on each other. Like, they didn't do that, but I was just worried that was going to happen. And that creates anxiety, you know? And I might forever be an anxious person because of my childhood. So that was a long tangent about me, but.
Yeah.
And I think he's right. Like, you know, Troyce that I watch on YouTube? He talks about how the growing up poor affects him so bad. Like, he said that himself, and he criticized his parents. He cut his parents off. So he be talking crazy. He's like, those bums should have never had kids if they were broke.
Yeah, I think so.
He said he's scarred from being broke.
Yeah, I think
and he has money now, and he said he's scared to spend it because he's scared to go broke.
That's that one right there. And I really do not, by any means, like talking about my family at all, because I wouldn't want people to go on their podcast talking about me. Yeah. But my dad grew up like poverty. Like, I won't get into. I mean, it was extreme poverty. I don't know what the level of extreme poverty is, but definitely building falling apart. Yeah. Food stamps. Yeah. Like, yeah, that whole like level of poverty. Obviously, you see where he's at now. Where he's at now is a little different.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. But
like you're saying, like, he's scared to spend money, right? So
it's the feeling that you can, and this is a common thing amongst black men, and you know, he's had this conversation with other black men and upper levels of, you know, the positions that he's hit, and it's a common thing where it's you're afraid to lose it. Like, you feel like you don't deserve it because you made it out the hood.
Yeah, and your friends in it.
And you feel like that survivor's guilt is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're afraid to like do something, like go into when you're getting a raise, to ask for more money because you feel like you should be grateful that you even got to where you are. So there's like a whole lot of real psychological issues. Even myself, like, not I know that was about to sound crazy.
Yeah,
like me being I definitely was nowhere. I don't even know.
You was spoiled.
I don't even know how to spell poverty.
Babe, you were spoiled.
I know that.
You came into school with all this drip.
No, I'm not saying that, but that's why I wanted to say I know how that was about.
I'm just saying.
But I was saying, for me, when I was in school, one thing that I really wanted to focus on a lot is that I went to school for economics, and economics is all about the business of the world on a country level and not necessarily smaller, microeconomics, macro, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Worst classes ever.
Yeah, so I took economics, and a lot of what I focused on when I used to write, because I used to write a significant amount. Like, I can go into my Canvas, if anybody uses Canvas out there, I could go into my Canvas and literally download like 20-page papers that I wrote about the economies in different parts of the country and the impacts of colonialism. Like, I used to write from a business perspective in relation, like I would tie it in with also psychology and like anthropological mindsets. Like, that's how I used to write. So like, that's one of the things. One time I wrote about genetic mutations as the impact of which was the impact of like poverty, like, and how, you know, black people have genetic mutations. Like, for example, my dad, you know, they weren't eating healthy because you can't really eat healthy and be poor. Yeah. So there's a predisposition in our lineage to have leg injuries because they weren't eating right, and they were basically malnourished, so their bones weren't strong. So it was really easy to break their bones. And
so you have weak bones. Yeah,
that's
and
what
it just passes down. Yeah, it gets deep.
That's probably why my legs, like,
I know, I was supposed to say that your legs always hurting. That could be because of that.
Yeah, like it's maybe 3 generations. Yeah, at this point
of leg problems.
Mm-hmm. So like, my dad was in a full body cast.
Wow.
Like one of those, like in the movie that you see where they wrap up your whole body.
That's crazy. When he was a kid.
Yeah.
Wow. That's definitely probably it.
If one leg of his is shorter than the other, actually.
Never noticed that.
Yeah. So he kind of like leans a little bit because they had to shave off his bone or something. He had to get like it was crazy. He has like a scar.
I'm gonna have to look next time.
He has a crazy scar from it still. All this time later, like 40 years later. But yeah, like that's the kind of things that people don't talk about, like, or really understand. Like, that poverty thing is real deep. Like, you're really bringing kids into real crazy situations. Yeah. Making them eat unhealthy, feeding them cereal, like,
it's like, what's the
juice,
point?
Kool-Aid. Like, you making people live real miserable lives, and then they end up doing stuff. Like, those are the people that, where they're like, oh, the dad's not around or whatever.
Like you're just creating a cycle.
Yeah, those are the people that end up running around shooting and killing people and robbing people. Like those are the people that you're bringing up. And clearly the man, and the other thing too is like we always assume that the man isn't in the kid's life for any sort of like we always assume it's because he just ain't shit.
Yeah, he don't want them.
But I've seen so many instances where, and we've seen them like in public, and at least me personally, like I know personal situations where the woman just doesn't want the man around, does everything in the world to block him from seeing him, full custody,
like they try to
no visitation, like
they try to punish the man. Like Tweezy, the one that had the missing teeth from Vine.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his teeth fixed now, but he's obviously like older. I think he's like around our age. And met this girl from Paris. They had a kid.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that situation.
She was raising her other kid too. He didn't get to see the baby for Christmas, their first Christmas stuff, and he moved over to Paris from Atlanta. Like he literally lives in Paris alone, like and waiting to see his kids. He's doing a whole court case and everything for her. She tried to lie. I said and I don't want to say she's lying, but allegedly he was abusing her and the kids. It's just crazy, and and he would just keep going live and saying like I swear like I didn't do, and obviously she's trying to get a reaction to him to snap on live and say crazy stuff because she could use that, but it's like, man, like that sucks. Like you moved all the way to Europe, like you live in France, and you did all that to take care of the kids, and then she just won't let you see them.
Yeah,
sad.
Yeah, and that's not everybody, but we just of course assume that the worst on the man's behalf, but some of those times it's the bitter baby mama thing.
And the crazy thing is some bitter baby mamas their kids are 18, 19, 20, they're grown now, and they're going to take that secret to the grave. Like, why, and sometimes I heard stories about kids who reconnected with their dads, and the dads told the stories, and then now you're conflicted now. You're like, I don't know your dad, and I hate my mom now because why'd you take him out of my life? Mm-hmm. These people, oh my God, it's just so crazy that people don't are just that messed up in the head. Like I was telling you this earlier when we was at the mall. I'm like, I think everybody should be required by law that you need to get mental health evaluations and get therapy if you need to before having kids. Because people are so damaged, and then they bring kids in this world and they damage them, and that's just so evil to me. Give the kid a chance to be themselves and just live a normal, happy, healthy life and then make their own decisions.
And that damages everybody else.
Yeah, and imagine all the people that they're going to damage around them. You raising cheaters, you raising crazy girlfriends. Like you're raising all these people that are going to damage so many people in their lives just because you're damaged.
Also want to be very explicitly clear, and I want to be diamond crystal clear. My dad growing up in the situation he grew up in was not because of any negative thing related to my grandmother.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like I just don't, because we're saying how the kids that end up, I just didn't want to allude that my dad growing up in poverty had anything to do with
it's
just circumstantial.
Yeah, circumstance. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want it to sound like we're bashing
your grandpa.
Yeah, or grandma. Like we didn't want to sound.
No, that's just unfortunate. That's just how the world works. There's poor people and there's rich people.
And you could allege that even living in poverty in New Jersey was better than the situation in North Carolina.
Yeah. That's what they always say. You'd rather be homeless in New York City than homeless in Memphis. Not even Memphis, right? Or like any of those.
Yeah, any
of those really impoverished cities.
Anywhere in Mississippi.
Mobile, yeah. You'd rather be poor here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I guess, in a way, what we're saying, you could kind of critique your grandparents because it's like, why'd you have the kids? Like,
you could.
Like, luckily and, gratefully, your dad grew out of it. And now he started this generation that's going to be, like, successful. Like, now we got to top of what he did. And then we're just going to keep that rolling. So, your dad's work could literally lead to, like, generational wealth. So it's like, I'm glad it did. But that still doesn't mean that people shouldn't be having kids and bringing kids into those situations.
Yeah.
That's why I hate people keep telling me to have kids. Like, I have money. Like, we have money. But I want to be at a certain point. Like, you got to understand that. Like, kids are not props. I want to be at a certain point in my life financially, mentally. Like, I want to go to therapy. I want to do certain things before I have kids. I want a mental health evaluation. I don't want to just have kids because I'm 25. And that's what the world tells me. I got to have kids because I'm 25. Like, that's not who I am. I'm taking it seriously because I'm very grateful for my parents. I'm very, very grateful for the life that they provided for us. And I just want to do better than they did. There's a lot of the mistakes that they made and things that they did wrong that I just want to make sure I do right for our kids. So my mom, if you're watching this, I'm not having kids until I'm ready.
I wish you would say that though.
What?
Because you're the type to like,
I know.
Like you're very opinionated and then never say your opinion. And if people, in my opinion,
I tell my mom that though. I did tell her that.
Yeah, but you say it in like, yeah, but like you do that weird voice. Like you're just not like.
I'm just not confrontational. And I just feel like if I say that, people
but that's not
think I'm crazy.
That's somebody telling you what you should do and you responding is not being confrontational.
I know.
Being confrontational is unprovokingly going and wilding out on somebody.
That's why I need to get a mental health evaluation, because the reason I could be like that is because of my childhood, right? Keep talking back to my mom. I've always seemed like I can't even say nothing to her without getting yelled at. Yep, that's probably why I'm like that.
Because I'm like that. Like,
yeah, you're straightforward. I'm not.
And if people are offended by me being straightforward about something that they asked me, then that's just your own problem. Like if I say,
yeah, I do see what you mean, because people will say stuff and then I kind of do like the playful voice to like, lessen the blow.
It's like, nah, like this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
and if you're offended by that, then you're just gonna have to be offended by that.
Because I need to be making minimum before I have kids. I need to be making at minimum 110. No, 100. 100. I'm gonna say 100 because based off what my career level is, I'm not far from 100. I only say that because 110 could be a huge jump from even 100. Maybe not though. 110 is really attainable.
I mean, daycare is $26,000 a year.
I know, that's the thing. Like I gotta think all that stuff through. Like I'm not about to, like.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
You probably pay more for daycare than you pay on your mortgage a year.
We pay less than that combined.
Well, that's probably your mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How much we said?
It was like
20,000.
24,000 or something. It's probably the same amount
that we paid combined for our apartment. So imagine shelling out all that money that we paid for our apartment already times 2 for daycare. I'm not doing that until we making over 200 combined. Sorry.
That's why you keep getting those questions, because I'm sure when you get the real response and the responses that you tell me, then I think you would stop getting those questions.
I know.
Like, nah, we want
to make 200K.
We want 300K combined and
a house.
And
I want my kids to have a nice house.
And then when you get one, then people will be like, okay, well, I guess that's what they're making out.
I'm about to be on my Rihanna. She's 33 having her first kid. And look at what she did. When she was our age, 25, she was making what song was out when she was 25?
I don't know.
She's 33 now, right?
All those Umbrella and all that was way before that.
Umbrella, she was like 16.
Yeah.
It was like, where have I been? That was probably that era. Yeah. Where have I been?
That was 2013?
Yeah. And she's 33. So 33, 9. That's 5, 6, 7, 9. Yeah, 9 years ago. Where have I been? Literally the middle of her career. And look where she's at now. She's so successful. She could retire and be good. That's the goal. Like, I'm not bringing a kid in the world because it's a requirement. Like, oh, you're 25. You have to have a kid. Who says who? You're not going to be as fertile. Okay. You don't know that? You don't know my body? Let me go get a test first. Let's see. So I don't know. Young Thug is definitely right. Like I always emphasize that. Like that's so selfish, in my opinion, to bring a kid into a world that's not comfortable. Your kid is entitled to a warm house and meals, consistent meals, and parents who actually love each other, and parents who are healed from their traumas. That's if you really love your kid, you would bring them into that space. So until I go to therapy and make $100,000 a year, I'm not having a baby.
Yeah.
And 100K is minimum. I really want to be like at 110, 115. You said 300 combined? Oh, you bugging. I mean, that's not that ambitious, because 150 is not far-fetched for our careers at all.
Really not.
It's really not. Like, if I leave my job now, I can get to the 100. Literally, it's not that far of an increase. So,
yeah.
It's not that. Actually, really, it's not that ambitious. Cause I predict that, not to put our financials out there, but I predict that by next year we'll both be in 100 at 100.
Who says I'm out there already? You don't see my financials.
Well, you're closer than me.
I may already be there.
Well, Where you combine all your income. You're probably already there.
I think I was at 100
in 2021.
2 years ago.
Oh.
I'd look at my tax stuff.
So yeah, if we just had that big jump next year,
which isn't a lot.
By 30, we'll probably definitely be at.
That's a funny thing.
100 these days are not that much. I hate when people say, "Oh, you don't even make that yet. How you gonna say that?" But like, because I'm close and I know people who make that, and it's still not a lot. It's living where we live. If we lived in like,
well, it's not a lot from.
If we lived in Mississippi, then I'll be having a mansion.
It's a lot from depending on where you are, where you're at currently. Because if you're like making 90, 100 isn't that crazy of a jump.
Yeah, because we're close.
It's not going to make that much of a difference. If you're making 30 or 20, obviously.
If you make it 30, your next jump is 100.
It's going to sound like a lot.
It's crazy. Because you know what's her name? She went from 60 to 120. That's a big jump.
Double it up.
That's lit. Kudos. That's some goals. That's how I'm trying to be. See, the fact I didn't even think about that. The fact that she's making that. It's very possible to get to that 150 real quick.
Yeah.
If you're in the right careers.
Speaking of money and balling out.
Yes.
I have so many random topics that I could just throw in here. But just because we're just talking about money. Bad Baby.
Oh, yeah.
Ran up 50 M's.
53 to be exact. Kudos to her. I don't like that she got famous off of, though. I don't like what she got famous of disrespecting her mom and acting black. I don't like that. But my whole thing is play the game. I'm always about playing the game. She played the game right, and she good for life. Literally, if she know how to sustain that money, she's set for life.
Question for you, because I'm not really familiar with her.
Yeah.
Where is she from?
They Catch Me Outside. Remember
no,
that?
I know, but where is she from?
That's how she got famous.
No. Where is she from?
Oh, where she live? Good question. Let me see. I'm pretty sure she's like from like, but I know what you're about to say. But let me say that.
No. The only thing I'm about to say is I'm questioning because like when you're down south,
Florida.
Okay.
Never heard of
I'm not familiar with that place.
Dayton Beach. Never heard of that.
Not familiar with that.
Probably
place.
north.
Because I was just curious because there is that thing where like the south gets real blended. So no, I'm not saying that that's what she was doing. Like I'm not saying that she just grew up and knows that life and that's just why she talks south. The way she talks.
It's actually near Boca Raton. I wonder if it's hood then, because Boca Raton is very, very like, what's the word? Where we have money.
Affluent.
Yes, Boca Raton is very. That's where Savannah, Montana was from.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with her. So like outside of that Catch Me Outside thing, I don't know anything about her. But
yeah, no, that's literally her claim to fame.
Okay.
Like before that, she was obviously nobody. I think she
because you said the acting black thing. That's the only reason I was.
Yeah, because the whole Catch Me Outside, like that's
okay.
Not to stereotype ourselves, but that comes from our community,
of course.
And people like to cosplay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, she made 53.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
OnlyFans took half of that, right?
Yeah, was it 53 gross?
Yeah, and then I think she netted like 23 or something.
Yeah, which is sick that OnlyFans takes that much.
Yeah,
but still 20 something million, and I don't know what she posts on there because she might not post anything crazy.
So, from my understanding, being in these Reddit streets, she doesn't post anything. She posts IG pictures basically on OnlyFans,
which. My thing is people complain about that, but nobody ever said OnlyFans was explicitly for sexual content. I don't know why people have that in their head. They said OnlyFans is just exclusive content. Exclusive could be whatever you think exclusive is.
Yeah,
if you're famous, you taking pictures and shorts might be exclusive to you. If you want, you got to pay to see that. I'm not posting it on Instagram.
I think she probably hit a lick on a bunch of guys that subscribe to her OnlyFans.
Because they're creeps.
Forgot to unsubscribe and then was just getting hit with that whatever she's charging a month.
Yeah.
But she
took advantage of the fact that men are creeps.
Now I don't know if this is true, but I heard somebody throw out that she may have been working with a company that manages like the content. Yeah. So from my understanding, obviously I'm not making an OnlyFans login, never putting my email address in that website, but
yeah, they got that information.
Yeah, like bro, come on.
That's crazy.
Because I don't know if you remember this, but there used to be a it still exists. Ashley Madison, I think it's called, which is
what's it called?
Ashley Madison.
I don't think I might have heard of it.
It's basically like an escort service where guys can like order women.
That's crazy.
But
I never heard of that.
It's like it's kind of wild, but like you could order, and I'm saying order to make it purposefully sound sick because I know these are human beings.
That's what it actually is though. Like
it's escort service. Yeah, they're escorts. So what happened was
that's wild.
A bunch of corporate guys, like high level executives, they were using their corporate email address because
people are slow.
They didn't want their like wives to get the regular email.
Make a fake email.
They used these were high level execs. They were using like their corporate email address to sign up for these things.
That's the dumbest thing you could do.
And I think I think that somebody hacked the website,
and got the list. And they probably did Control F and looked for like certain like at JP Morgan,
at whatever,
BlackRock,
like crazy. But yeah, that just reminded me of that. But yeah, so I think that from what I've heard, at least that one person said it, and I don't disagree. She was probably working with a company to help her generate content.
Yeah.
Because one of the big things with OnlyFans and how a lot of those girls make most of their money is actually not through the pictures themselves or whatever. It's through the messages.
The messaging.
You're paying the messaging.
A lot of girls too, what they know, like the loophole is they make their OnlyFans actually free to subscribe. Mm-hmm. And if you want the real crazy stuff, they send you messages and you pay for it.
Yeah.
Or they give you like previews that are like covered, and it's like, hey, that's crazy. It's a hustle, but it can never be me.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, honestly, if she was smart, maybe keep trying to run it up. But I'll be out maybe the next year.
She shouldn't have posted it.
She shouldn't have posted it. She should have kept that to herself. She should have
kept that long because now everybody's going to subscribe.
And she should have waited and like maybe another year and then been like, I made 100 M's or something, and made it. Yeah. But people are either gonna unsubscribe now, or she might actually make more subscribers. Cause there's that nosy, like something that does work to say that though. Cause then you have that nosy after effect.
This is such a sick comparison, but Safari said that a few years ago or whenever that they might have been through quarantine on the Joe Budden podcast, where he said that actually like his stuff getting leaked, launched the paid subscriptions for his stuff.
It makes sense. That's why I think some people purposely leak their stuff. Some people purposely leak their music. Some people purposely leak their nudes.
The Kim Kardashian effect.
Yeah. She's we got to give her credit. She's at the forefront of that.
Yeah. Good for her. She really should have kept that under.
She should have kept that to herself. Like I'm all about people getting their money, and
as long as it's not hurting other people.
She turned 18. Cool. She knew creeps were waiting for her to turn 18, and she profited off of it. Like that's a funny thing. Men will complain about it, but you guys were subscribing. Women will not make no money if you don't subscribe, even though they'll get money from other women. But.
And she didn't go up there and do nothing crazy. Yeah. She didn't get nude. She didn't do any of those things because she didn't have to. She just knew that men were so creepy that she was going to get paid off for that stuff anyway. But those are huge figures that she put up.
That's the biggest probably ever.
I think Bella Thorne might have been the biggest.
Oh really? She was up there.
Do you remember that backlash when she?
People were so mad because they're like, "Oh, these celebrities are taking money out of the."
Nah, she messed it up.
She did.
She messed up the platform. I forgot what she did.
Oh yeah, she did something that. Didn't they change it after that too?
Yeah, like they made it so like what was it? Oh, you know what it was? It was like the refund thing, like because she was like, "Oh, I'm doing OnlyFans, right?" And then didn't post anything nude, and then everybody like it was a crazy amount of refund requests. So they were like, now you can't get your funds until like after 30 days or something like that, or after 60 days.
So before you go cash out immediately?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's basically what she messed up.
I get that too, because like you do have celebrities that just kind of hopped on the wave to just cash out and like to take advantage of it. And like, the sex workers would be like, like I said, everybody wants to be marginalized. We're oppressed and celebrities are taking advantage of our work. No. You're just not selling because you're not Bella Thorne.
Yeah.
That's why that girl who said that, she's like, ooh, 52 million? I'm about to start OnlyFans. I'm like, you're not bad, baby. Yeah. You're not making 52 million. You're just going to ruin your reputation and be mad that you're broke in the next 30 years when you can't get any other job because your body's on the internet. You're not making 52 million. You're not bad, baby.
I question and I wonder, and not pocket watching because I never pocket watching, but she is very popular on the internet. Like, so that money...
I hope her mom's not taking that money too. Her mom seems crazy.
She's 18.
She's 18.
She can't.
Yeah, that's true. She's 18 now.
But I'm questioning. I wonder how much money the other people on OnlyFans are making.
I think a lot of people are making good money.
Because there's a lot of people that are like,
it depends on who you are.
High level, I guess, but like, not celebrities, but they're like popular.
But they're popular OnlyFans girls. Yeah, I think you could tell how much money people make by if you click on like their page or like their link and you see like it shows you in the corner how many likes they got. You know, okay, if this person's getting millions of likes or hundreds of thousands, like 100 of thousands of likes, then they're probably making money. So, yeah, because you have like the celebrities, right? Like you have like the people like we said, like Bad Baby or like what's the name? Didn't Ruby just say like she made $1 million? Wasn't that like a headline recently? Mm-hmm. So you have that, but then you also do have like the people of like who Adam 22 and his girl, like they're like obviously popular in that world, so they're probably making bank. Or like Selena Powell, like that's her world, so of course she's making money from that, a lot of money. So, but there's other people who are making millions too, just like a lot of these.
It's not shocking to me, to be completely honest. You know what it's almost like? I feel like it's the equivalent of like TV versus streaming, right? Like you used to have the big, not used to, but you still have the big sites. Like I don't want to say them on the air because I don't know if they're gonna if that's considered, you know, YouTube be weird, but you know, just the major porn sites, right? And then
people on TikTok say they use the corn symbol.
Yeah, like you got Cornhub and all that kind of stuff. Which I equate that to be like cable television, right? Yeah. And then people don't like cable television, right? Just like I feel like people don't like Cornhub, like because it's too professional. I guess like people's taste is more amateur. I never actually
used Cornhub. Okay. I feel like that way too. That's why I wasn't more of a X videos girl. No, doesn't X videos feel more like real? I never liked the Hub. I actually didn't use it. I used X videos. And what's the other one? XNXX. Am I exposing myself?
Some sites you naming up.
I'm grown.
I just feel like the
I'm not about to list the other ones. That must sound crazy.
Oh yeah, we know you. Well, they don't know you, but
you need to relax.
No, I do know you. Okay. I seen some. I forgot.
What'd you see?
All right, we'll talk about it off the air. You know what I see.
You didn't see nothing.
Right.
You didn't see nothing.
But in my opinion, I feel like there was the people that were paying for like the big major sites, like Cornhub.
Because they had premium, right, on those sites.
Yeah, they still have premium and stuff like that. But then I feel like people were like, nah, like I want to see that too though. And then I want to see that.
And something else too, what made OnlyFans popular is like that appeal of your everyday girl that you're seeing. Like when you're on those sites
on IG,
when you're on those sites, it's like you see, you're kind of seeing the same woman. It's like, all right, I've seen her get pounded out 600 times. I want to see something new. Like I think a lot of people like the appeal of like the everyday girl, that like seeing that
because it's more realistic. It's like. Yeah, it's just more realistic. Like, and like you said, you've seen this professional 9,000 times. Like things get boring really quickly, but I think what it did was it opened up because there was that. I guess it still is that time, but the whole IG model thing, like that boom of that era. I don't know if it's at its peak or past its peak, whatever.
I think it's a little past the peak at this point.
Okay, so like at the peak, I feel like. That's what men wanted to see, and I think that's what women wanted to see too. Because we don't talk about that. Like,
women are sick. A lot of women are actually really sick.
Women want to see it too. So like, I feel like
I could bet you a lot of people, if they looked at their OnlyFans analytics, a lot of it is women are subscribing to.
Yeah, of course they want to be nosy.
Everybody likes to blame men. They're like, oh, men are the one that's running this industry. No, it's probably a lot of women too. I know men are probably the predominant, but there's a lot of women in that mix too.
Yeah, because women watch that stuff too. Like,
I know everybody act like we like. This is
holier than thou. Yeah, I know. I know. Y'all are the ones in the videos though. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think it just made it more like we get to see the IG girls because we imagine it in our head. It's like she looks good, but now you actually see it.
And people want, like you said, the realistic stuff. They want like the videos with like the TV, like basketball is on in the background,
with
like
the iPhone.
That feels more realistic. Like there's music playing. Like
you can't relate to the.
The bright
walking into this multi-million-dollar mansion. It's like you don't relate to that bar. You ain't never been in that penthouse.
It just looks too clean. It's like no one wants to see that. So I get it.
So let's break down your taste specifically.
No. You tried to do this before on this podcast too. I'm pretty sure you tried to do this before. You tried to expose me.
Yeah.
I don't do that no more. I live with you.
Thank you guys for watching. This has been... No, we could talk about a bunch of stuff. What else you want to talk about?
No, I was just shocked. I mean, we said we could do a short pod today.
It's up to you. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about how DDG said that today's rappers are 10 times better than the old generation?
I saw people was mad about that. He needs to stop. He's not even lit like that. His raps are so bad.
No, he was talking about himself.
I know, but I'm saying for him to be a critique of hip hop and he's in the game, he needs to not talk because he's not that great of a rapper himself, in my opinion. At first, I tried to give him a little, all right, let me hear him out. At this point, his stuff is starting to sound the same. But that's what we said earlier, though. That might be his sound, so let me not critique. Because I know you always said critique the music.
We're not going to do the whole, I don't think we're going to make a whole segment out of this. But what I think he's saying, and I don't know if he's necessarily wrong about this, is I think that today's rapper is more versatile
That's what I was thinking.
Than older rappers. But the thing is, you can't critique. It's like somebody playing in the NBA today that's critiquing how the NBA was played 40 years ago, right? Like you can't critique something that you're able to be successful. And
we can't compare things while we're still living in it. Let 10 years pass and let's compare rappers from 1990 to 2010 maybe, or 1990 to 2000. Or okay, let's say 1980 to 2000 and 2000 to 2020. Those are two decade times. We gotta get a little past the 2020. I mean, we're kind of out the range now. It's 2022. But we're still in it.
Let's talk about the fact that even with as easy as streaming is nowadays, that rappers still can't sell anywhere remotely close to somebody in the 90s. Let's talk about that part.
The thing is now, I get it. There is versatile now, right? We hear so many different sounds. We hear so many different flows. But what are they saying? That's what matters. They're not saying nothing. And I get it.
Well,
art is art. So mumble rap could be art. Playboy Cardi type music could be art. But it's you got to think about back in the day, they was really saying stuff. They had so much wordplay and they were just so many triple and double entendres. They was actually saying stuff. Nowadays, there's only a handful of people that really are saying stuff. When you look at the lyric breakdown, it's these niggas are not saying nothing.
It's funny.
Nothing. They're just rhyming.
Yeah. And it's funny because Yeet said that that the lyrical miracle people don't be saying anything. He said the opposite. He said that those people weren't really even saying anything.
But they were. Were they?
They were.
They were. No, they were. We
even
was listening
to
some
today.
stuff. Today rappers who actually say stuff. Jay-Z, obviously. Kanye. Pusha T, in my opinion. Kendrick.
All the people that are the biggest rappers.
J. Cole is too.
Literally all the people that are the biggest rappers, the highest selling rappers, all of them are still rap like that.
Let's look at what they're saying. Even Kanye, I feel like Keep It Burning. I always talk about Kanye, but I know Keep It Burning. It's kind of a playful song, but he was saying some stuff how he said something about visionary thoughts before I could even walk. That's hard. And then he was saying something about his mind was running before he even knew how to walk. Something like that. That's hard. He was saying all these thoughts in his head, but he couldn't even walk yet. His mind is running, but he can't walk.
We need to break down.
I'm saying, but nobody says stuff like that no more. They just rhyme my bitch bad, and we in this cab, and we eating crabs. It's nigga, you're not saying nothing.
I think it depends, because I think the beats that some of the rappers that do that even today, I think that them rapping on certain beats makes you not pay attention to what they're saying.
That's true.
Because Lil Baby can really rap.
Lil Baby too. No, I'm gonna give him his credit.
Lil Baby could really rap.
Yeah, no, for sure. He definitely be having bars. And Gunna sometimes too. Sometimes.
What he's just saying in the song, he's I'm gonna have you running like your mama when I get the switch.
Yeah, that's a bar. That's I forgot to add Lil Baby in there. As far as today's rappers, he's up there.
Do you get it? Because the mama gets a switch, right?
Yeah, in the gun.
And then the switch is what you put on a gun.
It's hard. That's battle rap type stuff.
So it depends.
And these battle rappers are very talented too. They get slept on,
OD.
It sucks. Nobody even ever, I just didn't even hear about that stuff until you. Nobody even talks about battle rap.
Yeah, I pay attention to so much. I pay attention to everything, and it's not even because Lil Uzi can still be saying something. It's just not like I actually really pay attention. Most of the time, these people, and I'm not saying Uzi specifically, but most of the time, those style of rappers aren't really saying. They're like, popping pills, doing drugs, whatever, which is okay. That's still a form of art and rapping.
Yeah, it still is.
But it's not like complex.
But if we talking about if we talking about what rap is, like we like if you can't compare today's rappers and back then rappers because we had to talk about what rap is. They're not like they're rapping, but what is the basis of rap? The basis of rap is lyricism. It's writing, it's wordplay, it's poetry. So you can't compare the two when today's rappers aren't necessarily perpetuating what rap really is. You got to compare today's rap to back then's rap. You can't compare Biggie to Playboi Carti. Like Playboi Carti he created a wave, he created a genre, and that's his art. And I like Playboi Carti music. If I'm in a mood to listen to Playboi Carti and just repeat the same words over and again and just be like, I'm gonna listen.
No, first of all, don't ever do that again.
I'm gonna listen to that.
I'm gonna clip that.
But I'm not comparing Playboi Carti to Biggie. Like we could compare Kendrick to Biggie. We could compare Tupac to Jay-Z, but we can't compare Playboi Carti to Tupac or whatever. So it's like when DDG tries to compare today's rappers to back then, it's kind of not really. You had to kind of pick and choose what rappers say you want to compare it to back then. Like it has to be a leveling playing field. It has to be you got to write your stuff, the lyricism, the entendres, the wordplay, how many different ways you could rhyme. What I like about Kanye is he rhymes and a lot of other rappers too. He rhymes like a sentence with a word. Like you'll have two words and one thing that rhymes with one word in another line. Like that's hard. Like that takes talent and that takes poetry. So it's like, a lot of today's rappers are not on that caliber. I would give them if we were rating versatility, yes, very versatile, very going outside the box, taking risks, incorporating other genres. But as far as lyricism, nah. Like even like I said, I was remember Kanye. Like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was bars. That was lyricism at its finest. A lot of today's rappers are not doing that. They're not talking about I got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vault. No, they're not doing that. Childlike creativity, purity, and honesty. Honestly, it got me. Or is it crowded by these grown thoughts? They're not doing that. Who rapping like that? They're not doing that. They talking about they in the back of the back. Yeah, these rappers are not rapping like this. Like,
come on, you see that rhyme scheme?
Yes,
it's nasty. Now understand,
and he writing it too.
Yeah. Come on, and I think.
And as far like if you compare this to some old stuff, you might be like Kendrick. It wins because he's more versatile.
Yeah.
The bars, the flow is different. So in that aspect, I agree. If you're comparing Kendrick to an old school rapper, I agree.
What you was saying was that because I understand what he was saying that through that whole verse, like, but you was saying that they just basically rap fast.
No, I get that because that's like a whole meme. Like how they'll be like a lot of conscious rappers.
Lyrical, miracle, spiritual.
Yeah, it's like a lot of conscious rappers be doing that. It's like the way they be like emphasizing words. It's like, ooh, they spitting, and you reading the lyrics like, wait, you're not really saying nothing.
Yeah,
I get that. Like there's criticism obviously on both sides, but it's like there are some undeniable talents in rap.
Yeah.
What's this? Oh. Yeah, like no, I get that.
This is literally Eminem making fun of like people making fun of. It's like him making fun of like the lyrical miracle people.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I get that because it sounds crazy. Like, oh, he's spinning. And you really listen to it, it's like
wait, huh?
What's he saying?
Lyrical miracle, individual criminal.
No, I get that. I get what he's saying by that.
Yeah, because that is 100% a thing. Like
that fake conscious rap.
Yeah, like I rap fast, but not really saying much.
They wearing glasses and they got a suit on. They trying to be that. Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like the lyrical mumble rap, basically. Yeah. But I definitely get it. So I think that he's not wrong in the sense that like yeah, the rappers are a lot more versatile, but they also have the ability to, because they were recording on records back then. Like, I don't know if people notice, at this point, but there's limitations to even what you can record on an actual record or
And
tape or whatever.
Nowadays, we have more things to sample.
Yeah.
And a lot of rap today relies on samples. Like,
And there's
like, this is a hit. It's like, well, listen to the song. Most of this is a sample.
There's also a lot more technology involved in music making today, because you see, I'm able to pull up a single program that has 14,000 different instruments on it. Whereas back then, like, I was watching the Mike Dean video where he's making beats.
Yeah.
He's using an $80,000 keyboard. Like, and that's how music had to be made previously. Like, when you're in the studio and there's all those switchboards and all these different things, like, that's a lot of work. You have to pay for the studio time. They're going to charge you like $70 an hour, but then you have to book for a minimum of 6 hours or something. And then there's all of these other different things.
Nowadays, rappers got studios in their homes.
Like that beat. What's the popular Moonwalking in Calabasas, right?
Yeah.
That I'm sure was a loop that somebody made and then
somebody said that he sampled Too Comfortable.
Yeah.
It was, right?
Mm.
Like, we just played Too Comfortable today.
Mm-hmm.
That guitar.
Yeah. So like that, for example, like there's so much to pull from nowadays, and it's like you can't use the foundation that someone else built and then shit on it.
Yeah. Like, it's not how it works.
I can understand if the foundation, because like it's like the opposite in basketball, where like the older players are like, the new generation's trash, whatever. They can say that because they did it first. Unfortunately, they were just born first. There's nothing you can do about that. But they did put in the work.
I just think there should be respect on both sides.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, you can respect what the new generation is doing. You respect what the old generation built. Like, and we also have to be reminded that rap is still a young genre.
Yeah.
It's only
we shouldn't
older
even
than our parents.
We shouldn't even have these debates.
Younger than our parents.
We shouldn't even have these debates. Because I listen to music from the 40s and I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this is super hard.
Yeah.
And I can still appreciate listening to NLE Choppa rap over Shot of Flow 5. Like, it can be both.
We haven't really, like for him to say that too, is like our generation, like in rap now, rappers now haven't really proved their longevity yet either. Like, you can't speak on how great it is when people to this day still play a lot of old rappers' music it still plays in the clubs
and sample it.
Even like you could even talk about like the early 2000s, like 50 Cent is still played today. Like, we give him his flowers. Kanye is still played today. A lot of old Jay-Z is still played today. These new age rappers, they haven't proved their longevity yet, so you can't make a comparison when there's not even a level playing field of comparison. Because when you can make comparison, you got to compare every aspect: longevity, lyrics, songwriting, beats, like producing. That's a whole different thing because that's producers. It's like, you can't make that comparison when there's no like actual list of what you're comparing.
Yeah.
You want to compare versatility? Okay, sure. They might be more versatile, but like you said, the reason why they might be more versatile is because there's more things that are there now. They have a lot of things that they can sample, a lot more resources.
Yeah, like literally think about what I was saying before. Like, that room that Mike Dean makes all his synth stuff and all his music in, so the keyboards in total, I think, is probably just maybe under $500,000 in just keyboards, like, and nothing else but just different types of keyboards. I could get all of those sounds on my computer right now for $400 if I wanted to.
Yeah,
that's too easy. It's too easy to do. Yeah. So it's like you can't say you're better
than somebody when you have a kind of a handout. It's like the same thing people complain about Kylie and Kim being famous because they were rich because they were born into a rich family. If you're going to say that, then you got to say the same thing about rap. Rappers have quote unquote handouts now. Everybody has access. Anybody could have access to so many resources at their hands today. Anybody could kind of be a rapper, and because all you got to do is go online and you can find anything you need. Go to Target, you go to Amazon. You can sit on your bed and order everything you need for a studio from the comfort of your bed. And you're going to try to compare yourself to rappers who were out in the streets having to do whatever they can to go buy stuff. Actually had to go carry that heavy equipment or had to go get studio time. You can't make that comparison.
Yeah.
You could get a mic and make a song from your dorm. You saw your brother and his roommate they were making raps in the dorm and it didn't sound bad. All you gotta do is get that cleaned up. They couldn't do that back in the 80s, 90s. You're gonna go try to compare yourself to that? No.
Yeah.
No. So I don't like that. And I also don't like when people say stuff like that when they're not expert in their field. Like, you could be an expert in music and not necessarily be a great musician. But for someone like him who's trying to get into that world and trying to get respect in that world, you gotta relax. Don't say that. If Kanye said that, let the legend say that. I'm not saying that you don't have the rights to opinion, but let the real people who are like up there and who has success in the game speak on it.
The only thing I can't wait for, and this sounds like some real hater shit because it sounds like I can't wait for people to fail. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely not specific to DDG at all because I really have no gripes with him. I'm not really like, I've listened to his music. I've reacted to it. I thought it was like he has a potential.
He has potential.
And Moonwalking in Calabasas was big. Mm-hmm. So it's not specific to him, but just in general, I cannot wait to see how the longevity of everyone falls off. Not that I can't wait. That's not the right
I know
word.
what you mean.
It'll be interesting to see how
mm-hmm.
like seeing how it all plays out because
when we're in our 40s and the young kids are calling them wash, like, oh, who's this old wash rapper who you had a hit in 2000? You get a hit in 2020? Like, it's 2040.
I'm interested to see how these young kids age in music because I might be young in age, but in my philosophies, I'm not young in my philosophies. Like
you thinking way ahead.
Yeah,
they're not.
A lot
of them aren't.
I don't say I don't want to listen to a Pusha T album because he's 40, right? Like I don't do that, and I don't say I don't want to listen to some kid that's 16. Like I don't do the whole age thing. I do what's good music, and what's music I'm not gonna listen to or just might not be catered to me. So I just seeing people age in music is very interesting to me. We see people age very well, and we see people that age very poorly, and then we also see people that just stop completely, and then the only reason we hear about them is because of what they did mad long ago. But
the thing is that we haven't got to really see yet is like this streaming generation and this
how they'll
YouTube generation and TikTok. Like we haven't seen that effect yet.
One thing that I will give a lot of credit to Lil Uzi for is that interview that Ebro did with Uzi. One thing I hate, when people, because it was that generation, like when all of the SoundCloud rappers, I hate to really categorize them as that, but they're really the SoundCloud legends is really what they should be called.
Yeah.
When the SoundCloud legends were coming up and they were getting just, completely shitted on by like the old hip hop heads, because before the Uzis of the world, it was like rap and
you had to go to the studio. I mean, you had to go to the label and pitch and all that.
Yeah, like even not even that far back, but even just like right before that, like it was just different. Like rap was so much different. It wasn't so melodic. It was, it was just different.
It was 50 Cent.
Yeah, and
Rick Ross and
that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean Rick Ross kind of did some melodic stuff, but not like he did some melodic stuff.
Yeah, he definitely does melodic music, but he wasn't singing.
Yeah,
I just mean
the singing stuff,
like the 808s and the way that they're able to, And
obviously, we gotta give Kanye his credit, and Drake.
There's a lot of people that T-Pain
Uzi still could be and T-Pain. Yeah, Uzi is still kind of a byproduct of that in some ways. I'm sure his inspiration drew from that in some way.
Definitely, but what I want to specifically give him credit for is like Ebro was kind of like being tough on him in my opinion, because he was like, oh, you're just gonna be another one of those wash people when he was doing the interview. Like he was saying it to his face.
Damn.
And like just seeing where he's been able to take it from there, like his influence,
we've seen it.
Like
we witnessed him
from the ground up.
Literally, like there was like Summer 16. That's when him and Lil Yachty, all these people just came out of nowhere, and they all have maintained relevancy and
with a significant amount of success. Like Yachty, you brought up a really great point with like his endorsements and everything he's been able to do in media and still in music too. Like.
And his personality, people just like personality is huge. Like he's like, people love his TikToks and they always just like how he is.
Yeah, he's just chill. He's like, so like Yachty, like Uzi, like I like that.
Yeah.
But what I am still interested in with those type of people, I wonder how they'll age, because I know we can't tell or we can't imagine it now, but these people, God willing, at some point. Will be 40, 50, 60, 70, and that's
gonna be so crazy. Weird, I don't know why it's weird to think that far ahead.
Uzi with the gray dreads,
and the wrinkles with all those tattoos on his face.
Yeah, like it's gonna be very interesting. So I just can't wait to see it. Hopefully, I'm around to see a lot of those different things.
I would just hope a lot of them are smart and to know what to do with their money. Because I always, just being a financial guru, I will call myself in some ways. I think sometimes undermine a lot of people and feel like a lot of people may not be as intelligent, especially when they specifically hire people to give that advice. So I'm sure a lot of them are smart, but I would just hope that they are, because that would be a very sad thing to see. Like, that's why a lot of like our people our parents' age is so depressing to see the people that you grew up with go broke, dying broke, on drugs because they don't have money and they're just going down that path. I would hate to see a lot of like rappers who had an impact like Uzi and Yachty go broke and just be old and like drugged out,
Yeah, especially in this era where you're actually getting paid. Like back then, the people had so much influence, and so much popularity in music, but they weren't getting paid
like
properly.
TLC, I always think that's so crazy how TLC was so big and they was literally broke.
Yeah,
like that's so crazy. But now you have people who touch that money, and that's probably even more psychologically messed up if you lose it, because you had it at one point.
Yeah,
and it was easy to get, and you was like, dang, I brought all these watches and this, and now I got nothing to show for it. Like, I'm broke and I gotta sell all of it to eat.
Yeah, to wrap up my final thoughts, it'll also be interesting to see how like this generation of like, I hate calling them influencers, I wish there was another word for it, but that like I prefer media stars. Yeah, I prefer media. I wouldn't even call them stars. Just the people in media across social media, like are the black news outlets, or I don't know what the word, I wouldn't say black news outlets, but like complex, like that whole,
the Shade Room,
that kind of thing, like
hot new hip hop, all those.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how people that gained a lot of success from those things. I guess the better way to say it is I'm interested to see how people that have careers in unconventional areas like podcasting or like social media influencers or YouTube, I'm interested to see how those people specifically age, because
like that's something we haven't seen. And like I always think that kind of like scares me a little bit. Kind of like these people are really like, and a lot of them like the degrade. Like that girl Winter from Bad Girl Sop, I do not like her at all. And we don't even talk about it, but she went viral because she was like twerking in like Jamaica or something, and she did the girls in the background were like haters. And it was like they were just minding their business. Like why? What is up with this generation thinking that people are in the background just enjoying their time, and now they're viral saying that being called haters. Like, cause she was like twerking, like she was like, the people in the back are mad, and everybody's like, people were fighting her back. Like, no, they were just minding their business. Like, what are you talking about? And she's white, and she has a history of like saying she's black. She don't look black. If you don't look black, you're not black. I'm sorry. She has like a history of like, just ignorance and just being a hater, right? And just being, and what's funny? She actually dated one of the Coen brothers, interestingly enough. But she has like just a history of being like hateful and just like thinking everybody's a hater. Like you could tell she's insecure. People who think everybody, like everything is somebody hating, this girl's mad and you're a hater. She has history of that, and her whole social media is like anytime someone criticizes her, like people are calling her out about like her saying that she's black.
She references the money.
Yeah. You guys are mad. I'm broke. I'm successful. I'm living life. I'm like, well, let's see how you are in the next 20 years. Like, it's just going to be so interesting to see all these people who like to throw that in your face. Like, oh, you working a 9 to 5. I'm successful. I'm living a dream. Let's see this longevity, because that's something we haven't seen before. We have not seen that. And like from what we have seen in the unconventional world of entertainers, a lot of them go broke. Unless you got something that's going to make you residuals like crazy, unless you're being smart with your social media money and getting into real estate, putting your money into funds, or you just being more diverse with your career. Like it is interesting to see people like Diara, right? Like how she's evolving. You was a couple channel. She's rebranded because she's single now. Now she got her glasses line. She's somebody, if she keeps working and doing the right things, and like, you see people on Vine, like Melvin, Greg, started off on Vine, did the right thing. You're on Snowfall, you're on TV. Jay Versace started out on Vine. You just got a Grammy. If you know how to evolve, you'll be fine. That's a lot of work to constantly evolve with the times, right? And like, all right, I got to get on TikTok now. Like, I got to stay in the know. But it will be interesting to see, because we all got to age. And for us who work these conventional jobs, we're, for the most part, we're pretty secure. Unless the company fails or you get fired, you can easily go get another job. We're pretty secure in these careers. And like, we have 401ks and stuff like that. It's like, it is going to be very interesting. I'm actually kind of nervous though, because I think a lot of people are going to go crazy once they realize the money is dry and that they're washed. It's going to be so humbling for a lot of them, like Winter. And like you said, I don't like to wish bad on people, but I hope she gets humbled She got to get humbled one day. Hope she do. She's so nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because a lot of them are our age too, so we're gonna age right along with them. We're gonna see.
Yep.
And all these people talking crazy. We might be the ones that end up financially better off in situations, right? Like that's a crazy thought, but we might actually be financially better off than a lot of these people who are successful right now that we think are living life.
Could be.
Could be.
There's a lot of rappers that end up being, and there's nothing wrong with it, but they just end up in regular jobs. Like you might see them at, even actors. Like, you know.
Speaking of Backroads Club, that's girl Rocky. Someone was trying to clown her. She had a podcast. She's like, I don't know why they're trying to clown me. I gotta make money. She was on Backroads Club, and it's like you perceive that as success, and like wow, you're like you got followers, and she's the bartender.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
That's most of all the shows that you see on.
And they thought this was gonna be a quick bag. I'm about to make money. I'm about to be successful, famous. Now look at you. And on top of that, no insult, but on top of that, it's like you got that on your record now. You was on TV. These employers can easily go look and see how you was acting. They're not gonna hire you. So you probably end up in worse situations sometimes.
Yeah.
When you take that risk. So, and we're not bashing on unconventional routes because obviously it's great money.
Listen, this is an unconventional route, and if it works,
it works.
We out of here.
But if it works, we also are financially smart people, and if it works, we also have our degrees to back us up at all times.
Yeah.
And we don't say anything crazy on here. I don't think that we wouldn't be able to get employed.
If anybody says anything crazy, it's you.
You think? Oh yeah, some of the stuff I do say, they're probably like, "Well, we don't want an employee." That's
even you bashing specific people. Imagine this gets popping, and then you like people pull out old vids.
I'm big. I said what I said. Like that's the type of person I am. Is I said it what I said. Anytime people ever confronted me about stuff, I'd be like, "Yep." They'd be like, "You was tweeting about us." Yep, I was. That's how I felt in the moment. So that's the thing. I said what I said. I'm an accountability person. I take accountability for my actions. So if I were to get called out and be like, "Oh, you was talking crazy about DDG," yeah, I was. I honestly don't like his music. That's how I feel. I'm not gonna backtrack. Oh, you said this about Meg Thee Stallion. Yeah, I did. I don't like her music. I gotta like her music because I'm a black woman. I gotta like her music. No, I don't like it. Think she's a great rapper. I mean, I want to say great. She's a good rapper. I think that she just doesn't. I think she gets sucked into the industry, and it's not exposing her talents as best as she could. Her stuff before she popped off was way better than her stuff now.
I have a whole piece about Meg Thee Stallion, but
it's sad that sexuality stuff. I know sex sells, but you really do yourself an injustice because you're talented and no one wants to hear WAP. Like, oh, that stuff is like, it's like, oh, how many times you gonna sing about that or rap about it? Okay, yeah, we get it. Your vagina's good, okay. Next, I'm bored.
That's just you.
I know a lot of women like that stuff, but for me, it's boring. Like,
yeah, I just said that's just you.
You can talk about it, yeah, but no, but a lot of people are pointing out though in the Shade Room every time like a new song comes out, they're like, all right, Meg, all right, we get it. So not everything got to be about sex.
I think that they're giving that criticism only because of other scenarios. I don't think people like her as a person anymore. So now, just like the baby thing, like I think now people are gonna be more.
It's a cycle.
Because
they love you and then they hate you. I get it. It's
like I said, every other rapper raps about the same thing every single song. Like you can't tell me.
You're right.
You can't tell me like. Who else do we want to pick on? Because we talked about Pusha T. I don't know.
I mean,
like Future, right?
Yeah. I mean, Future is always about woman and
really anybody
being toxic.
Yeah, like people.
Drake's always about haters and.
But you still gonna listen to No New Friends
around the corner, and I don't mess with these niggas because they.
What are you doing with your hands? And first of all, Drake never made a song that even sounds remotely like that.
What's the song that just came out with him in Future? It's something. It's always the same stuff. It's like the ops are not in my circle small, and these niggas is coming from my back. It's always like he always got problems with people. He got trust issues. He don't like friends, no new friends. His circle small.
You really like
Meg Thee Stallion's always like.
You really try to get like a lot of hate off. I don't like that.
It's not hate.
It is hate.
No,
that's hating.
No. I'm agreeing with you.
No, but I'm saying, see, you're trying to attack the person. I'm just saying in general. Like,
me mocking Drake is not me mocking him. It's just me trying to get his flow. Like, I'm not.
That doesn't sound like his flow though.
I'm not mocking him. His whatever he just said on Future's thing, I'm really about to go back. I'm not even a Drake fan. I'm about to anymore. I'm about to go back and re-listen to one of his verses. Cause I thought it was hard. Like, he did a whole verse about like sports. It was like he said something about messy and being messy and like girl want to see the world and see Chris how do you say it? Chris Ronaldo. What's his first name? Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, he had a whole bar about sports, and I'm like, this is fire. I like Drake stuff. You know, I'm all about haters and
just make it
circle
clear.
Being small. I'm not mocking him. I like his music.
Just make it clear.
I like his talk shit bars. I do.
Just make it clear.
Nicki, I like the talk shit bars.
Just make it clear.
No, I'm making it clear. I'm not mocking him.
Because I'm just saying in general, like people could say that about anybody, but who they pick to point out is people that they don't like based on their personality.
I get that.
Like the Baby and Meg.
Yeah, and what Meg did, she kind of digged her grave a little bit because people
and Tory.
And Tory, yeah.
Because people loved the
they love
the sample flips and all that
Proud
stuff.
Family thing. But you know what's funny? Somebody actually said that though. They was like you know, the whole joke was like when you sneaking and listening to a song, like the trend on TikTok. People did like a joke where they was like sneaking and listening to one of those old songs. It was like, what's the one that was like, a good love to your body gets weak, whatever. Mm-hmm. It was that song. The girl was like saying how she was listening to it, like, you know, that whole like that meme where what's the name was eating.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, like sneaking and listening to it. So people appreciate it. People appreciate that time. But I see what you mean. People love you till they don't.
Yeah,
I get that.
And then the second you do anything wrong, and now it's all of a sudden, I hate these samples. You can't make a good song on your own. Like,
I get that. But I've stayed consistent in my stance that I'm not a big fan of that music. Like, obviously, I'm all for women empowerment. Like, clearly, like, men will do anything for women and our parts. I get that. But for me, like, it's just not my cup of tea. Like, I rather listen to music about new up back in the air.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching.
No, but even if it's Nicki stuff, like, I like the songs like
Shit
on Them. Man, I just did on them. Like, I like that. That's my cup of tea. I need songs that's like, yeah, I'm flexing on these broke bums that preyed on my downfall. Yeah. Like, I like that. I'm not expressive about my sex life like that. I'm private when it comes to my sex life. So it's like, I'm not, that's why that music never really resonates, because that's just not me. Like, I keep that private. You know, the whole world not about to know about my private life. So I'm not about to be in the club like, I got, no. Corny to me, sorry. But I'm about to be in the club like, man, I just did it on them. Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. This has been the A Couple of Things podcast, where we talked about a couple of things. And we are out of here.
I ain't talking about Phoenix. Bitch, I get money, so I do is what I please is. I live where the motherfucking pools and the trees is. Broke bitches so crusty, disgust me. Get that bitch a ride. Got the continental. Trust me, I keep a couple hundred in the duffy. Couple wet wipes in case a bum tried to touch me. Ew. I'm the Terminator. Bitch talk slick, I'ma have to terminate. Little nappy at a hole, need a Terminator. You my seed, I spray you with the Terminator. Move back bugs. Matter of fact, you know the Quinky was a back rub. If you could turn back time, share. You used to be here, now you're gone. Nair.